And now it's time for the Express Pros Pro of the Week. The Pro of this week goes to Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud. The rookie threw for 274 yards and 3 touchdowns in Houston's blowout win over the over Cleveland. I said the Cavs over Cleveland on Saturday. So again, congratulations to C.J. Stroud, and that leads us perfectly, Kerry, into the next topic, which is C.J. Stroud and how well he played.
Yeah,
and also we saw how well Jordan Love played in Green Bay's blowout of the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got these 2 young quarterbacks, both first-year starters. I got to be honest. I was more impressed by C.J. Stroud over Jordan Love only from this standpoint. And this is Jordan Love's first year, and he played great. I'm not taking anything away from him.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been in the league for 4 years.
Yep.
Even though he's just starting for the first time, I think he has like a little bit of a head start. Even though he didn't play in a lot of games, he was in with with the team and practicing and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Whereas C.J. Stroud to come from college and do what he's done with a rookie coach, go to the playoffs, and then win a playoff game.
Yeah.
Am I crazy or in thinking, or were you more impressed by Jordan Love?
You got to give them both credit. I think you're.
If you pick one,
I think you're spot on. You're spot on with C.J. Stroud as far as coming straight out of college, being thrown into the fire as the face of the franchise in Houston, where nobody had expectations for them at all. Even the prognosis and diagnosis of what C.J. Stroud was going to become in the NFL, it wasn't high. Like, even coming to the draft, people were questioning if he belonged to be that, belonged to even be in the top quarterback conversation because of certain little tests they took before the draft even started, right? So to see where he is, new head coach in this situation, I definitely got to give it to C.J. Stroud, but I'm thoroughly impressed with Love as well.
Because Love had a weird, uneven season.
He did.
He started out pretty good. Then he had a really bad stretch. People were questioning, what are they going to Packers need to look for a quarterback? That is really what people were saying, right?
He went through some adversity, yeah.
And then he bounced back. They got better. They beat the Lions in a game that was important. I think that was a turnaround.
Yeah.
And he finished strong. And I won a playoff game. He didn't just win a playoff game. They went to Dallas and blew them out. And he played well, 3 touchdowns, right?
I was just about to say, and it wasn't like he wasn't a bus rider. He was the bus driver in that situation as well. He played well. He had a perfect passer rating. So,
he was 16 for 21. Didn't throw a lot of balls, but he didn't have to.
C.J. Stroud the same though.
Right.
They both had similar numbers actually. If you look at the numbers, I think they both were around like 16 for 21, 17 for 22, and around 250 yards or something. Whatever the final numbers were, I think they both threw 3 touchdowns. So, yeah, it was very very similar performances.
But I just, you don't see a guy like CJ come in and play right away. There's a lot of busts, am I right? Highly touted quarterbacks where people have made expectations and told us they're going to be this, they're going to be the next Peyton Manning, they're going to be the next Andrew Luck, right?
And those
Lawrence in
Jacksonville
is one of those guys. Wouldn't you say that?
And the guys,
because he went backwards too,
right? And the guys you just said, the Peyton Mannings and the Andrew Lucks, their first years weren't more impressive than C.J. Stroud's.
Nah, not at all.
There was questions about Peyton Manning after his
Peyton
first
Manning
year.
threw like 100 interceptions. I know I'm being ridiculous.
You're close. It was probably 99. It was close.
It was a ton.
It was a lot. And so, like, for him to be as efficient as he has and not turn the ball over, which is the hardest part for a rookie, because you just don't see these schemes in college. So, yeah, it was very impressive.
It really was. And Jordan Love, obviously, you got a quarterback that won a Super Bowl, and Green Bay's had 2 quarterbacks that were about 30 years. You don't have, and they won how many MVPs between them? Like
a lot.
7 or 8.
Yes,
right.
I think 7. Yeah.
7, 3 for Brett Favre, and 4 for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, and you come in, and you got to try to join that. And Bart Starr, of course, was a Green Bay Packer quarterback. I mean, they've had a history of great quarterbacks in Green Bay.
Yep.
And he's turned this season around and got people to maybe buy in, because even the Packers didn't fully buy in. They could tell you whatever they wanted. They believed in him, but they would have signed him to a contract extension if they really knew what they had.
True.
Because, Kerry, you don't wait on a quarterback. It only costs you more money. That's why the Cowboys are where they are with Dak.
Yeah.
They waited. You remember?
Yes.
They weren't sure. And so they waited, and Dak wound up getting like $75 million one year because they waited. You got to know, what are we doing? Is he our guy or not? And you have to commit to him. So I think, obviously, I think they got to sign him now. He won a playoff game.
Oh, they got to sign him. He's the guy, and I think he's proven that. You watch him now, even just from the beginning of the season to now, just the confidence that
it's changed.
Oh man, it's emanating off him.
Because I remember what game was it? He had a really bad game that I remember watching.
It was early on,
that, right?
Early on, yeah. He was. I think he had more interceptions than touchdowns early on in the season, probably the first 3 games or so. So he turned it around, and I think for him it was more of the mental game, which it is for most young guys. But yeah, he's the guy moving forward.
Man, it's going to be something, and I know. C.J. Stroud and the Texans, are they playing with house money or are they scary? Like this kid, I think they're more than just playing with house money.
I do too now. At this point, I do too. Because coming into it, I thought Cleveland would win this game, Steve.
Oh, I did.
So
I did too.
You know what I mean?
I thought, and they were favored on the road. You know what I mean? You think they got a veteran quarterback, they got a defense, and my God, they got their heads handed to them.
It wasn't close, obviously. I mean, Houston was prepared, and I'm also so happy for my high school teammate, right, D'Amico Ryans, to come in there and right that ship.
Did you know he was going to be a coach?
I did. Yeah, I always knew he'd be a coach, and he was always a leader. Was he a good player? Oh, yeah, he was a stud.
So it was everything. But I'm just saying, he was a great player, and he knew the game,
and knew the game. He was 2 years younger than me, so he was a little younger than me. So I saw him really grow up. Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm nowhere like in this whole process thought that he wouldn't be successful. But for them to be where they are right now,
nah, there's no way you thought right.
No way.
Even being friends.
Oh, no way.
You still looked at him and you were like, are they really going to do this? and the score and the way that they played, it was really impressive. And C.J. Stroud was just coming back off of, what did he have, a concussion? Remember, he had missed a couple of weeks.
Yes. Yeah, he got hurt against the Jets. Actually, he had a concussion, yeah. So for him to come back in this first game and just light it up the way he did, man, it's
okay.
I'm happy for him, yeah.
So if you had both guys.
Yep, both guys.
You have both guys.
Yep.
Starting a team.
Yep.
Which guy are you taking?
Are you taking C.J. Stroud?
Why is that?
I mean, number one, he looks the part. I mean, and then you see you saw both of their game film from college. Just the level of competition that C.J. Stroud went against at Ohio State, obviously, is a little bit higher than what Jordan Love.
Right. But Ohio State quarterbacks are flamed out in the NFL. This is like that. He's like the first one.
That's true. Yeah, but you can just – and you never know. You never know with these quarterbacks, though, Rob. So, like, a lot of it is based off of getting to know the kid as well. And so the whole interview process, and as a GM, if you get to actually see these kids, see their tapes, there's plenty of people that can play in certain situations, certain schemes.
Right.
But that doesn't transfer to the next level. But you have to start looking at, okay, who is this kid? So when adversity strikes, which it will.
and you got to be prepared for that.
What is he going to do in those moments?
It's always about the comeback story. And how do you – because nobody in their career where everything's going to go right and you're never going to bump your head and you're never going to have some doubts. You played at a high level. Yeah. You didn't have doubts, and sometimes you go through that.
Man, think about that. So me coming in as a fourth-round guy, I was supposed to be a second-round guy, and so I fell to the fourth, and, it kind of happens.
How devastated were you at the time? Were you like, what happened?
That was my whole driving factor when I came in. So I'm like, oh, okay, like, who are these guys they took before me, number one?
And you want to see, did you know who they were? Did you look
I knew quite a few. I knew quite a few at the time, but once I remember when I first got there, I went through my first rookie camp. Then the vets came. We did like a little mini camp. And I saw the guys. I'm looking at Curtin Martin. I'm looking at Chad Pennington. I'm looking at these Curtis Martin's Hall of Famer, Wayne Corbett, Lavernius. I'm looking at all these guys, and I'm out there, and I'm picking off Chad in like the mini camps and stuff like that. And I told one of my good friends now, Jonathan Vilma, who was a year ahead of me, already there.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm going to be the starting safety here in my first year.
Wow.
And he was looking at me like, all right, Rook, what are you talking about? No, I belong here. And once I knew that, once I knew I belonged, there was the rest.
That's the whole thing. It is about feeling like you belong. And I'm sure for everybody, no matter what you're doing, it's the same thing.
Right.
I could tell you the same way, or the feeling when you finally get on that desk at ESPN. You know what I mean? And you're there in the lights, and everybody in the country can watch you.
Yeah.
And you got to go up there and perform. I can remember that first time. You know what I mean?
Man, it's nothing like it, Rob. I mean, and look, and then you have that confidence, right? And so you have that. You finally get to that point. Then you have I go through the preseason, killing it, but you're also playing people that are not going to be playing in the regular season.
Right.
And so then you get to the first game, and I'm like, do I belong? So it happens, and you have to get over that. And so the ones that have the right psyche mentality are the ones that can handle that.